This is Play PSVR2, the podcast. It's an emergent podcast, another emergency podcast, but this time because we're on the hype train, Alex. Pre-orders are in. Tell me that you got one, brother.
I got one, baby. I got one. Who do you think you're talking to? This is Premium Select Alex here. All right, you know that. Everybody else scrambling to get registered to sign up for a chance to maybe ask Sony, please let me buy one. Sony walked up to my front door. They shoved the paper in my mouth, and when I was like, "What's going on?" I pull it out, and it says, "Love Cuck Cerny, you have a PSVR 2."
They're like, you still got to pay for it, but we're letting you pay for it before everyone else.
It's so generous of them. Yeah.
It's special. And listen, I have had a fantastic day today, so that only adds to the hype. We've got new games. We've got details on prices of games. There are details within the games on the PlayStation Store and the descriptions that we feel like are very telling into the future of virtual reality. And I have a way that I've paid for all of it. Well, at least half of it. It is incredible. I can't wait to get started. The first thing I want to do, though, is introduce the Gamer Juice. I was going to wait and bring this out for December because it's more of a December thing. It is like a bath bomb for your milk. It's just like a big old black ball.
That sounds awful, but I'm very intrigued, but it sounds terrible.
It's just a big old black ball. And
we're just going straight coffee, Adam.
Oh, you loser. Oh, I just spilled that all over the thing. But you pour warm milk in here, and what happens is, man, there's milk everywhere. But
wait, how'd you heat up the milk? Did you nuke it? Microwave it?
Yeah.
In your new microwave. Okay, it's all coming together.
I got in my new microwave, and so when I sent Alex a text right before we went live, and I was like, hey, when we go live or when I send you the link, we gotta go. Because the milk can't get cooled down or this ball isn't going to melt.
It just looks like a smear on toilet paper.
That looks bad, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, so there's a chocolate hollow ball. Inside it is supposed to be like some type of hot chocolate mix and then mini marshmallows. So I don't know.
What if you just ate the ball? Would it just taste like chocolate, or does it need the milk?
Well, because there's hot chocolate mix inside it, I would think you would need to have the milk.
It just looks worse and worse every time you stick it in there. It's just so
okay,
bad.
it's break. Oh, the ball just went under. The ball.
Do you see what's on the
under?
Do you see what's on the other?
I see the mini. I know you can't tell on screen, but mini marshmallows now.
Everybody, listeners, we've done this before, where it's a video. What you don't see is it looks like Adam has a glass of milk and he's smearing a piece of poop along the inside of it. That's what it looks like, and he's getting very excited about the chunks that are now appearing.
Dude, yes. I mean,
Adam, we don't have time. We don't have time
for me. I want the solid, the tangible pieces. Okay, let's take a sip.
Yeah, so Adam, I just want to say,
dude, that's good. I haven't had hot chocolate. That's good.
Here's what happened to me with the course of this pre-order. I was hyped for the pre-order, right? This is an event. I was pumped. But it was so easy to get that pre-order, right? I clicked the link. I was in. No waiting in line. And after about 5 minutes, I had my PlayStation VR 2 pre-ordered. I got the Horizon bundle, and I got my charging docks. Everything was set and done in about 5 minutes. I didn't even have time to worry about it. And then I was kind of deflated. Like, there's this thing I've been looking forward to. Suddenly it happens and I'm done. But the good news is you start investigating things, right? You start looking at the PlayStation Store, like you mentioned, seeing what games are coming out, seeing what games are already on the store to pre-order, to wish list, read through the details, find things that previously, for whatever reason, weren't released. But now PlayStation VR 2, it's a reality, right? They're accepting money for it now. And as a result, you're getting details, concrete details, how much the games cost, what the games are doing, caution warnings and stuff about the games. And it's turning what was a deflationary experience into another build, a preamble for the hype. And I have a feeling we're just going to go off in that trajectory until launch. So it's like a good way to reset myself. Now I have the PSVR 2, and now I just need to pile on the excitement until it gets launched, man. How did you feel in the pre-order process?
I thought it was very interesting. As you mentioned, it was giving you concrete details and requirements for some games. And, it was like, if you're smaller than this, you can't play. And so right there eliminated 4 games I can't play. I mean, this is big. So I agree. This was the smoothest pre-order I have ever seen in my entire life. I pre-ordered games, consoles, cards, a ton of stuff, and it's always a mad scramble. So either they really did make 2 million of these, and because they I guess staggered the pre-orders, there was enough supply for the demand, and so there was no rush, or they just did a fantastic job. I mean, I think they did a good job either way. And I think maybe part of that, you were prepared to like fight for your PSVR and you didn't have to, which you were kind of dehyped because it was so easy. I was pumped. I was like, I got in early. I got in about 20 minutes early. I was able to peruse all 3 things, choose what I wanted. So I was very impressed by the entire process. I purchased just the PSVR2 bundle, no Horizon, and I got the charging dock. I think you got the Horizon bundle and the dock, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, I'm going to need the dock. I need to charge it because, USB-C ports are limited real estate, right? And so I'd like to be able to
Mhm.
charge I'd like to be able to charge the controllers separate from the console. So if I can have them, on another table somewhere in the room, that makes them easier to get to, that would be nice. I got the Horizon bundle because, okay, well, kind of leading in, we're knowing the prices of these games as they're coming out. Horizon Call of the Mountain by itself is $59.99. That is a full priced game. Um,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, normally
This
full price
that
is, yeah, $69.99. This is a full price game. If you get it in the bundle, it's what, $10 off. Then it's about $50. So I was like, why not? I'm gonna be playing it at launch anyways.
because I'm gonna buy it physically for $60, and then I'll sell it back at $45, and then I will have paid probably $20 for the game,
Do
and
you
you
think
paid
the
50.
resale value is going to be that high for it? I don't know. I
Most of
don't
them
do this
are,
often.
man.
Yeah.
Like every game, even the PSVR games, when I bought, I'm not necessarily launch, but when the games have launched and I bought them, when I sold them back, I mean, I pay 20, $30 most for any game.
Have you ever had to go back and buy a game again that you sold? You're like, man, I wish I didn't sell it.
I've never done that, but I have had games like Final Fantasy Stranger of Origin or whatever that's
Stranger in
called.
Paradise. Yeah.
Thank you. That's it. I knew it was wrong when I said it. That is a game that I now wish I had because it was a good freaking game. But I bought it at 70. I sold it at like 60 or 65. I
Wow.
literally paid like $15 to play the game. Totally worth it. I do it all the time. And then there's games like Kingdom Hearts that are now, I bought all of it and now it's all free on PlayStation Plus. So Alex, that's good for you. But I don't want to talk about flat games because they're not as good. There is a detail I want to pick your brain about, Alex, because I'm probably pessimistic, but I'm a little torn up about. You don't seem as worried, probably because you have a solid backup plan. When you ordered and you pre ordered, it told us delivery date. It gave us a range from February 22nd to February 28th. And I've seen that on everyone's on Twitter. I think that's just across the board when they are telling you is the delivery date. By gosh, I want it on February 22nd. If I got it on the 28th, I would be livid. So that has me worried that they're like, I don't know if it's just the remote areas. I don't know why there's a range. That worries me, but you don't seem to be worried. Do you think I'm just being pessimistic? Do you think they're just giving themselves some leeway? What did you take from that?
They got to give themselves some runway, right? Like they have to because it's still winter. There could be storms, right? Delaying things, flights could get canceled. There are going to be people in rural places and they have no idea who is ordering it until it's ordered, right? So they're giving you an estimated release date. Who knows what the future holds with this economy and the way things are going. So I think that, 22nd to 28, that's not enough time to like make a million more so they can meet the demand. It's really just a shipping estimate. And I will say, when I got the PlayStation Direct for the PS5, it was there day and date, right? It was ready to go at my doorstep, and I was ready to start playing that first day. And
But
I
but you
lived,
did have to wait. my issue is like today I had something delivered by UPS. They dropped it off at like 5:30. So if they ship it UPS, I think it's just where I am on the route. I'm gonna get it after work. I want it in the morning, man. I want it as soon as possible. I want you to be sitting there waiting for the delivery, man. And I'm already past high school and Cosmonius High.
That's true, and I will say this: this did bite me in the butt once. I think with Elden Ring, I was dying to play Elden Ring, and I couldn't wait for my special edition whatever package to come in because it got delayed, and so I just bought it digitally, thinking I'd return.
Do you still
it.
have the sealed copy of Elden Ring?
Yeah, I still have the sealed special edition Elden Ring, so maybe it'll be worth something someday.
Dude,
but...
yeah, I think that's actually a pretty cool deal. Do it.
Yeah, but I mean, in the end. Yeah, the downside will be ordering it through Sony. I'm gonna have to wait until halfway through the day before I can actually start playing it. So my backup plan is I'm probably still gonna try to pre-order it at Best Buy or something. That way, if I see there's a delay, I could just preempt that and say, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get it at Best Buy. I can start playing it when it comes out, and then return the Sony one or something like that, or maybe sell it on eBay for a smidge of a profit, or maybe find somebody like Jay Brat who can't source his own PSVR2.
He's not big enough.
He's not big enough.
He can't get it. Yeah.
Not tall, not large enough.
I did see that. I went through the process of if I wanted to cancel, what it would be like. Very easy. You put in your order number. There's a thing right there that says to cancel. So if I find one at Best Buy or GameStop, that is also an option that, I could just maybe cancel the Sony one, rely on GameStop. They've never let me down. They're also going to have a host of games. So I could also pre-order all the ones I want physically anyhow. Like I know Switchback. I'm going to go back to it all the time. So I'm just going to buy it digitally. But games like Horizon that I know I'm not going to keep and I'm going to sell back. Dude, at $60, that better be a game. That better not be an experience. That better be a game.
I heard it's like 6 to 8 hours. Which, depending on how the game works, maybe that's enough. If I could play through it 2 times, and I'd be happy with that price.
Dude, that's too. There's PSVR games that are longer than that now.
Yeah, but they're not. They might not be as good. Like I don't care about 40 hours of just like, okay, I'm just playing a game, but feel like I'm in the world a little bit, but just looking at it. But a game that's fully featured, and I feel like my time is being spent well, and it's only 6 hours. Like Rez, right? Rez, I'm happy to pay $50 for Rez Infinite. You can go through that entire game in a matter of like 8 hours.
But that's different. By the way, I don't want to derail us. This week, I went back and played Rez Infinite because I'm in the phase where I'm now appreciating the PSVR and what it's done for me. So I'm going back to the hits. I'm going back to be grounded, to learn who was I. Like I need to,
who is Adam?
Grab onto my roots, and holy crap, Alex, it's been a long time since I've played it. It effed me hard, and it was wonderful. It was better than I remember. It is wildly good. It is the perfect game in virtual reality. And if any of you swine deny that, then you can go F off because you're wrong.
So Adam, let's roll it on a little bit. So we talked about the backup plans. Okay, so we did mention the games are up now, right? And so kind of leading into Res Infinite, we loved it. What game out of this launch list? I'll read the launch games here. What game out of this launch list do you think is closest to being your Res Infinite of launch? As in the game that sells you on the whole package. And we know we're both happy for Switchback. It's not officially a launch title yet. But here's the games that we see on the PlayStation Store right now. We have Cities VR Enhanced Edition. We have Cosmonius High. We have Demio. We have Hello Neighbor Search and Rescue. We have Horizon Call of the Mountain, Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, Tentacular Light Brigade, Walking Dead Saints and Sinners 2, and Zenith, the Lost City? Yep. Zenith. Adam, none of these games are like Res, but which one of these games will be the Res for you? Also, we forgot Resident Evil 8. That's there too. But yeah.
So it wasn't on the PlayStation Store. When I looked up PSVR 2. Those were all the games that were listed. So I don't know what that means. If they just forgot one, if they haven't put Resident Evil 8 under the category yet, I don't know what that means.
I guess they haven't announced that it's going to be available at launch, but we all just know it. We just know it. So we'll consider it baked in here.
Okay. So I'm going to be honest. There is Res is such a unique experience in virtual reality. There is nothing that can compare unless there is a similar game like Res.
Yeah, it's an
Dude, when
unfair
I was
question.
playing it, the psychedelic nature of it, the randomness, it's like kind of modern and tech like, and then it adds so much in the virtual reality aspect. There's enemies you got to look behind that are chasing you. It's got Area X. It's got everything. None of these games can compare to that. But I'm looking at Saints and Sinners 2 being probably maybe the best game on this list. Switchback, I think, is going to be very good, but Saints and Sinners is going to have I'm assuming it's not quite a rail shooter. I feel like it's going to have maybe a little more in terms of the gun, the gameplay, the brutality, the gore. So that's kind of what I'm looking at as my top performer out of this group so far. But you know, because here's the other thing. I care about prices and I care about length. And you tell me as we go through these what you think about it. So Cities VR is $30 with your PlayStation Plus sub. It's 27. I think that's pretty good for a PSVR2 game. Around the $30 range, I think is pretty fair, don't you?
Here's the thing, that's launch title pricing is what that is, because if you're not interested in Cities VR, 30 bucks is not going to make you want to buy it. 20 bucks, I'll throw 20 bucks away to just experiment with something. 30 bucks is like you got to have some built-in interest. Um, but the reason I say it's launch title pricing is because, hey, I just got this new hardware. I want a bunch of games for it. I don't care how good it is. This is the reason those games like Carnival games exist. This is the reason, Mario 64 comes out, and guess what else comes out? Gex 64 at the same time. Who's playing Gex 64? The kids that got tired of Mario 64. This is what's happening with these launch games. So Cities VR Enhanced Edition, 30 bucks. If it was mid console life cycle, I wouldn't even take a chance, but it's a launch title. So I'm all aboard, baby.
Did you talk about Gex because I said it in that one episode?
I did not. That was the first game I could think of to be like, what stupid game would come out at the launch of N64 that like why would you buy a knockoff Mario when Mario 64 comes out?
Gex
Well,
was a good game, and that was a good hot chocolate. You made fun of the way it looked, but dang, it was good. Okay.
it looked like poop.
So Cosmonius High, $30, $25 with a sub. That to me, look, that one I will admit is high. Cities VR might have something baked in that makes it special. Cosmonius High looks just like a job simulator lookalike with a different skin. $30, that's steep.
So this is the people who made Job Simulator, right? Adam, do you remember what the Job Simulator launch price was?
I'm sure it was probably something very close to this.
It was $40. It was $40. We're getting effectively, based on the trailers and stuff, we're getting effectively the next Job Simulator game for PSVR 2 for $10 cheaper than we would be getting Job Simulator for PSVR 1. This is a deal and a half, and I'm definitely getting this game. Not only just so my kids can play it, but it's going to be one of those fun showcase games. I'm going to feel like no stress hopping in, fart around in VR2, use the new technology, and get out and get on with my life, baby. I'm pumped. That's 2 games I'm already purchasing right now.
Oh my, I might buy Cities VR. I'm not buying Cosmonius High.
I'm going to buy Cities
Demio.
VR, and I tell you right now, I'm never going to play it. Demio.
So that's $40. It's 31 with a PlayStation subscription.
I got a second job. I'll buy all these games.
So Demio is interesting. $40 is, I feel like that's on the higher end. That's really gonna have to bring some meat to the table. I'm gonna have to look at the trailers again, do a bigger dive to figure out if I would pay that.
So here's the thing about Demio. Sorry, I'm gonna jump into these games. Here's the thing about Demio. It's got hype. People like it. It's on Quest and stuff like that. People think it's really good. I know it's like a tabletop RPG with like card mechanics too for your move sets, and that has me questioning a bit. But there was a game on PlayStation 4 called like Hand of Fate that was like an action RPG roguelike, but you used cards too, and it was third person, and you wouldn't think it'd be an excellent VR game. It would have been an excellent VR game. So now I'm wondering, like, even though Demio looks like it's turn based, maybe Um, man, I feel like if it has half the magic that Hand of Fate game did, it's exactly what I'm looking for. And maybe it's good for me to go ahead and get a game that's not this like first person VR experience, more of this like overlord looking environment stuff. I'm selling myself on Demio. I came into this discussion trying to talk myself out of Demio, but now I'm turning myself around. I think I'm going to play Demio. My only hope is that it's not multiplayer only. I don't want to play Dungeons and Dragons with other people. At least
You're
not
not
right off the
talking
bat.
about voice of cards, are you?
No, no, that's the Yoko Taro game. No,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, that's
talking
why I
about
was wondering. I was
Hand of
like,
Fate. It was kind of an underrated title. It was really cool though.
okay.
Um,
A game I'm certainly not gonna play or buy. I mean, I guess if they give us a code, I'll play it to review it, and I'll be fair. But Hello Neighbor, $30, $27 with a sub. I mean, this just doesn't interest me at all.
this is going to be a top seller. I have a feeling it's going to be bare minimum, so they can just get this game out the door, because it's also coming out on PSVR, and it's aimed at the people who are. I played the original Hello Neighbor. It ran like crap for just a normal console game. It looked like garbage. It ran like garbage. It played like garbage on a PS5, and it had like PS2 graphics. So I have very low, even though they've made all the money in the world at this game somehow, I have very little hope for this game. I'm not going One of us has to play it, Adam. Here's the thing. One of us has to play it. I've already bought all three of these games coming out and Horizon. You got to buy one game, you turd.
Yeah, but you just said you got a second job. I don't. So
Okay, I'll buy this.
yes, you're just gonna buy every. You're gonna spend so much.
So my nephew loves Hello Neighbor, and he's just now getting excited about VR. So I feel like I have to get it
Oh.
just so when he comes around, it's like, dude, let's play some VR, man. Let's do it. Let's play Hello Neighbor. You're gonna piss your pants.
Yeah, that's good. I don't have any of that. It is interesting. A little later on, I want to talk about the game descriptions have the kind of some factors that go into the game. What do they use of the VR technology? And it's hilarious because most of them thankfully use everything. Hello Neighbor is bare bones. It's like it's in virtual reality. That's it.
It's only big screen mode is all it is.
That is so funny. Okay. So Horizon is $60. No PlayStation Plus, no sub, no discount. Garbage.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Like, because usually all these games you get a discount just for the pre-order discount. This one has nothing. Can you pre-order it now, or is it just wish list? I think you can. No, yeah, I get the alert. It is pre-orderable, but no discount.
Yeah.
That is odd.
I know. So I thought maybe they would do the thing where, okay, if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, you get the $50 price tag as if it were bundled, but no. Again, this is something we're both going to play. You already have it. I'm going to buy it physically. So we're going to play that. I think most people are going to. I'll be intrigued. The good thing about a 6 to 8 hour game is that we have a lot of stuff to play, Alex. We got a lot of stuff to cover. We're able to play that, finish it, get everything that we need to out of it, and then kind of move on. Yeah. Star Wars. So $50 for this. Another game that you don't get a discount. Garbage. So I don't like Star Wars. I don't care about Star Wars. I'm not really interested in this. Do you care? I know you liked was it Bridge Crew or was that Star Trek?
That's Star Trek. Star Trek
Okay.
Bridge Crew. I like Star Wars. When it's done right, I like Star Wars. A lot of the new movies haven't been great. So here's the thing. I'm watching the trailer for it right now. This game came out a while ago. It's been out since 2020 on like the Quest. This is the enhanced edition, so maybe it's better. But it looks like there's some first person shooting and some running around, which is all cool and good. But I'm watching a full game stream right now, and it is 2 hours and 30 minutes long. So as excited as I am,
Wow.
yeah,
Oh, for a $50 game? Dude, they are mooching off the Star Wars name and likeness big time with that.
yeah. So it's like paying $50 to literally live through a Star Wars game. I mean, 2.5 hours, 3 hours that's pretty short. But depending on how wild the ride is, that might be okay. I'm a I'm an old school Star Wars fan. I feel like I got to do it. Let's add it to the list. All right. I'm gonna call my second boss. Tell him I need to work extra hours.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's freaking you're nuts. Okay. Next is Tentacular, $25, which I think is pretty fair. Probably a $5 upcharge because of that launch title, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And it's $23 with a subscription. This, I'm not looking for a lot from this game, but it's one of those that you're like, I got this new hardware. I need to play something. If I haven't bought these games before, I gotta buy and play something. So this maybe this is gonna be the game I buy because I gotta play something.
This is happening again, Adam. I just looked up a trailer for Tentacular. I ran into a full playthrough of the game. How long do you think it is?
Wait, how? Is it
It's
already out?
I guess it's already out on like PC VR somewhere. I don't see what VR headset they use to play, but how long do you think it is?
Gosh, it's gotta be 2 hours.
It is 3.5 hours, is what they're doing right here.
Okay,
So,
but for $25, that I can muster. Like,
yeah, it. I don't know. I mean, VR games feel longer than they are, right? I could be playing VR for 30 minutes and feel like I've been in there for an hour.
yeah.
I'm disappointed that it's not. I mean, this is a silly thing, right?
The thing is, like, how long would you want to play this game? It doesn't look like it really has a plot. It doesn't look like a game. Like, you wouldn't want Job Simulator to be a 15, 20-hour game,
Depends on how
right?
long I want Job Simulator to babysit my kids. The no, I mean, this is a silly, stupid thing, but I want these games to be new, right? Like it's PSVR2. I don't want a game out for something else. I mean, granted, we have the whole hype around Half-Life Alyx, which is another systems game that would make us so excited, but I want to come in here with a new game. PSVR 2, I want to have a thing that I can hold up and compare with the Quest people and the PC VR people. Be like, don't you wish you had this? Don't you wish this was on your system? We had that with Resident Evil 7. We had that with Res Infinite for a little while. All we have here is, I think, Horizon. And everything else is coming. And granted, the VR space is a bit different than normal consoles, so they can't play that game, right?
I
Development
think
costs a lot of money.
Switchback will be
Yeah,
exclusive.
Switchback will be that, but we can't talk about
Firewall
that.
Ultra, that'll be
Yeah,
exclusive.
but we don't know that those are launch titles yet. So in my mind, like Tentacular might be good, might be great, but it's just disappointing and deflating to me that I might be on the Tentacular hype train, and that train has already passed, and all the passengers got off 2 years ago because
Yeah.
Tentacular was out on PC VR.
I mean, it
That,
got an 81%, an 8 out of 10 on most reviews. So
that's hey, that's really good actually. I'm good with that. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, let's move on. Light Brigade. Wow, Light Brigade. Woo.
So here's the thing about Light Brigade. Okay, it's 2150 with your PlayStation Plus pre-order discount or whatever. I've talked trash about this game, right? The trailer was not appetizing. We weren't super excited about it. I did some digging. Funktronic Labs, that name sounded familiar to me. They made Star Bear Taxi, which was like a $5 game at launch. They charged you $5 when it came out. And I played the hell out of it. I loved it. It was very simple. It was very, like, just very
The
simple
dumbest
game.
game, and you like the dumbest games.
Well, here's the thing. If it works, right? And it was fun to play. I did not want to get out of my headset. I wanted to keep playing this game. And it doesn't have to be the best story. It doesn't have to be the best gameplay. But VR can be uncomfortable. And if a game makes me feel comfortable in VR and I want to keep playing it, that's nice. Then I start reading some more things about Light Brigade. Got some roguelike elements. A first-person shooter VR roguelike. I can get behind that. And I can look past maybe some of the graphical, blemishes potentially that this brings. This is a game that's coming out on all the platforms together. So again, it's still some new hotness, and this will be the best version of that game if this works well. I have faith in Funktronic Labs. Their games feel good when you play them. So I'm turning up the optimism on this. I'm turning a new leaf. I'm ready to be a fan of Light Brigade.
Yeah, and at $20, essentially, I would be willing to throw my hat in the ring, have a multiplayer game to go and play. I'm down for it. So maybe that's one we'll both get. We'll play if Firewall Ultra isn't a launch title, I'm going to be furious. Anyhow, we got to move on. Two more. Saints and Sinners 2, $40, no discount. That's a lock it and drop it. That's a buy it digitally. You're going to go back to it. Incredible game. Great showcase for new people who haven't played. You have your finger up, like either you're gonna pick your nose, you're sniffing crack,
Why not
or
both? Why not pick my nose and tell you something? Adam, here's the thing. They launched this, right? But they have a new pack that you can get that is Saints and Sinners 1 and Saints and Sinners 2, leading me to believe, and maybe this has already been announced, but it's eluded me so far. Is Saints and Sinners 1 getting a free PSVR2 upgrade? So if I have Saints and Sinners 2, am I also going to be able to play Saints and Sinners 1 with the new controllers, the new controls, the new haptics and stuff? If so, that is premium select, and I'm here to play that. Saints and Sinners is freaking awesome. Saints and Sinners 2 is probably going to be freaking awesome. It's one of the most visceral VR experiences you can have, and it is a fun action survival game. Um, Whatever the price, like that might be the best game on this list, to be honest.
yeah, I agree, and that is something to where I haven't played the first one. I've seen streams, I've watched you play it on the Golden stream, but I've never played it myself because it came out right when I was starting to exit really playing PSVR as much as I had in the past. I would buy both of them. Granted, I feel yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely gonna buy at least 2, and if one is a PSVR2 upgrade and it sounds beefy enough, I'll probably buy it too. We got one more, Zenith,
I
30
already bought
bucks, no
this.
discount.
I already bought this. It was on sale like last week for like 25. I bought it. I'm ready. My MMO, I'm going to get my hot anime girl and I'm going to be her in VR hanging out with Jay Brad, but he's not going to know it's me, right? He's going to think it's like a cute girl and I'm going to be like, "Hey, you should come hang out with me instead of hanging out with Nat." And I'm going to try to start a fight there and then she will leave and I will insert myself into Jay Brad's life and then I will be Jay Brad's wife.
Oh, wow. Interesting. So before we go into the segment break, it seems like a good time to talk about 2 new game announcements. Not their launch titles, but they've been announced. Altair Breaker is a game that, it I don't know what the heck, what type of genre it would fall in, but it almost gives me Kingdom Hearts vibes. You've got a sword, you're you're just destroying these not quite robots, but clear like robotic looking enemies, but still have some type of organic biological grounds to them. And I don't know if it was the music or the like they did a very good job in the trailer making you feel as though the player, the character is undergoing something that is very important. Whether that's true or not, I liked it. I mean, it was a little teaser trailer. It was what 1 minute. Kind of liked it. And then there was X8. This to me looked like laser tag. I was not very interested in it. It did not look very fun. Just looked very basic. Graphics weren't great. Nothing made this stand out against any other game. It just looked like something else that they just wanted to spat into the space. What do you think of these 2 games? Did any of them tickle your fancy? What one are you most excited for?
I didn't see the trailer for X8. It's a game that's already out. I or at least it's coming out for other systems. If there's cross-platform play, then that'll be cool. That's fun. These like first-person multiplayer games, they can look amazing. Like Firewall looked amazing. The gameplay like kind of suffered for some reason. And then there's games that don't look amazing. You play it and it's really fun. Like I think Alvo is that way. I think that Honor and Duty game was kind of like that. It didn't look great, but it was really fun to play. So I'll withhold judgment on that. But I'm just excited that another game is being announced. What was the other game?
The Altair Breaker.
Altair Breaker, it reminded me of that game that launched on the iTunes store. It was like the big showcase for iTunes and the graphical power Infinity Blade. And it ends up being like kind of an advanced version of Mike Tyson's Punch Out where you see him swiping this way, so you got to swipe the other way. It looked like that in VR. It could be cool, but I'll be honest, by the end of the trailer, I was getting bored of the gameplay because they kept showing the same thing over and over again. I'm I'm nervous about how like the legs this game is going to have if it's going to hold my interest for long term. That being said, I'm probably going to buy it because I'm an idiot.
I
So
mean, you don't know you don't like good games, and since it gave me Kingdom Hearts vibes, that would explain it. I don't have I mean, yeah, I think we learned a lot just from the prices. I'm happy with the price point of most of these PSVR2 titles, especially knowing the technology that's going into it. And when we come back from the break, there's even more within those game descriptions I think we can talk about, right, Alex?
Yeah. Take us out, Adam, so we can get back in here and talk some more about it. I
I
gotta go
don't
pee.
want to break. I don't want to break. I want to keep talking. But we should probably give people a break because, hearing your voice for an hour and a half straight will at least let you off with some Box Cat games and music. We'll be back talking more games, YouTube comments, and a couple other more fun things. Alex is going to eat a bean. Stick with it, folks. We'll be back. That's it. It is Play PSVR2, the podcast, back in action. Alex, I missed another reason why I am so happy today. I missed it. I opened a $3 Pokemon Check Lane blister pack. Essentially, if you're not a card guy, I opened a $3 pack of Pokemon cards. Look at this. Oh, it's horrible lighting. You can't tell. It is a Lugia V alternate art. Alex, this on eBay right now. I could walk outside in my bare back, butt, and balls and sell this for $300 cash money. Boom. I just paid for half of my PSVR2 pre-order right there from a stupid pack of Pokemon cards. Will I do it? Probably not. But I could. It is awesome. I couldn't believe it. The odds are like 1 in 800. Like if you look at supposedly the odds of how many are in per pack. Incredible. Couldn't believe it. I have a YouTube short of me pulling it on our channel. I couldn't believe it happened on camera. Nothing good happens to be on camera. It's like nothing notable happens. I get in camera and it's just all falls flat or I can't, perform. And then it's just a dud and everyone's wasted their time. It's a shame, but I performed tonight, baby.
If you guys want to see Adam perform, just make sure you go on YouTube and watch him pull his short.
Yes, it's a big YouTube short. Gaming is in session. That is our YouTube handle or name.
Adam will be pulling his short all night. I'm proud of you, Adam. I'm proud of you for finally getting a Pokemon card worth a damn. That you didn't bend in the opening like you did that last video you had with a decently rare card.
What? Oh yeah, that sucked.
So you smashing the deck.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, what's funny is this is the I don't want to get off the tangent. This is the second set where I've pulled the alternate art. So the last card was $250. This one's $300. I can't wait for the next one. I'm gonna be rich. I mean, ungodly luck. Ungodly. Anyhow, back to the things that are important now that you know I'm loaded and that I have a little short. The thing, you noticed this, Alex, and I'll commend you. You have a very good sense of importance when you look at details and read things. Very good job. As you were reading the games on the PlayStation Store, you sent me a little snippet. Maybe I'll put it up here on the YouTube, and for the listeners, you'll just have to trust me. There is a little icon of a man, and it says VR playstyles, sitting, standing, room scale. Alex, why don't you inform us, and especially me, because I know in theory what room scale is, but I've never actually been in it because I've only played the PSVR. Tell us why that's important, what that could do to enhance our immersion.
Yeah, so when you play these PSVR games, if you have PSVR, right, that was the thing you look for on the store to see, like, what kind of controller does it support? Is it move support? Is there aim support? Is it DualShock only? There were things like that you'd worry about. This is kind of a new wrinkle. I don't think they told you if things were sitting or standing, but they might have, because you could do that in PSVR 1. But one thing you couldn't do, the big no-no in PSVR 1 was getting up and moving around, right? The first thing you do in any game when you start it up is it gives you that square that you can stay in. Please don't move, because we're going to lose tracking if you do. This gives us the indication that Roomscale, which has existed in other systems, screw them. Who cares about them? They're not on my PS5. Roomscale is available on PSVR 2, meaning, as it says, a minimum play area of 2 meters by 2 meters. So that's about 6 by 6 feet, 6 feet 7 inches by 6 feet 7 inches. That's a decent sized square, right? That you can walk around in.
Yeah,
and that's the nice
That's
thing.
a good sized area, yeah.
And I did this a bit in Resident Evil 7, even though you're not supposed to. There's a scene where you're walking through a bathroom, and I thought there's going to be a guy in the stall waiting to pop out at me. So I walked over and peeked over the stall, saw that there was nothing there. I was good to go. That kind of stuff can be taken into account now. The games can be developed around your ability to walk around in a space. So this is exciting. This is a new wrinkle, right? The games are designed such that you might be able to move around. What's that game that I love? Space Pirate Trainer. A game like that with a little bit of room scale becomes a different game, and it becomes a much more enjoyable game. I don't have to plant my feet to the floor. Here's what we need to do, Adam. I'm developing the backpack right now so you can get wireless PSVR2. That's in progress, guys. Get ready to drop big fat stacks of cash for that. We're gonna make a room scale rug for you. So as you're playing PSVR2, you can feel with your toes if you're getting near the edge of your rug. That way you can fully play room scale without worrying about walking over a fence or into a coffee table or into the bathroom and tripping into the toilet with your headset. We will prevent that with our PSVR2 Play PSVR2 the podcast special rug set. But honestly, this is an exciting thing to see, kind of under the radar. Like they should have played this up, right? This is cool. This is a new thing for PSVR2. And I'm excited to see what games. I didn't check to see. Do we know what games have this option listed under it?
Yeah. I have. We'll talk about that in a second. And I mean, you're right. I think they should have played out this. Two things why I'm pumped. One is this. Two are the number of games that use this, at least according to the PlayStation Store. Those two things have me hyped. Because think about Super Hot. If you were actually fully able to move and duck and get on the ground, and it would be incredible. And that's what virtual reality is about, right? Immersion, making you feel like you're there. Well, although PSVR did a good job, knowing that you couldn't move far, or as soon as you moved or rotated more than 90 degrees, it lost tracking and you got that stupid sign that says, hey, I can't track you. That's not an issue anymore. You're going to be able to do that. I could turn around till the cows come home. I could look at my own rectum. It doesn't matter. It's going to be able to track us. And I've got a nice game area. I still don't think it's 7 foot by 7 foot, but it's a pretty good sized area. Hopefully that's not exactly true. It says minimum play area has to be that. Hopefully, if not, I can at least try it. Or maybe
a minimum play area. I didn't even think about that. That's minimum play area. I'm such an idiot. I was thinking that's maximum play area.
No.
Correct, right. They're not tracking you, so you can go as far as you want as long as the cord will reach. That's the thing. Do we know how long the cord is for the PSVR 2?
I don't know if it's been announced, or I certainly haven't seen the details of that.
Oh,
I mean,
it is
for
okay.
it to say a 6 foot by 7 inch, that's so specific. I have to think that is because, well, no, that doesn't make any sense. I'm trying to think, why is that I guess that's a minimum play area, just because if it's smaller, like, are you even moving? And like, can it even, if you're so close to the camera, it's not going to be able to see the floor. So it's not going to know. Like, I don't know. I think there's reasonings, but I mean, cord can't be that big, right? I hope not. If it were wireless, we wouldn't have to worry about it.
If it were wireless, we would not have the fidelity that we're going to have. We would not have the games we're going to have. You realize how annoying it would be to be playing a game and have to swap out batteries? That stuff sucks. That sucks to be running out of battery when you're playing PSVR. Here's the thing, Adam. It's USB-C connection, right? Which means maybe we could buy extension cords. And as long as it's not a certain length, then we could probably get like a 10-meter cord, maybe, without any loss of fidelity. So I have high optimism here. They have not, based on what I'm reading here, they have not announced the length of the cord. But I think the PSVR 1 had about 4.5 meters, which is pretty long.
No way, not meters.
Yeah, that's what it says. 4.5 meters, 4.4
No
meters.
way. Yeah. A meter is like 3 feet, isn't it?
You never got the PSVR 2, like the second generation PSVR headset, did you?
Yeah, that's the one I'm using right now.
Yeah, it's got a 4.4 length. Of course, Adam's not going to know anything larger than
1 meter is 3.2 feet. You're telling me that cord is almost 10 foot?
I will say
if
there was a while where I had my PS4 in the closet and my PSVR cord came from within the closet, outside and around the door, and into the playing space that I was playing in. It worked really well.
Dude, here's the thing. I will eat 3 beans if I go in there and I measure from the headset to the end of the cord and it's 10 feet. I will eat 3 beans.
I wish you would.
I'm gonna. That's bullcrap. There's no way.
Hang up the podcast now and go measure it, you turd. Adam, tell me about here's the only game I want to know. Tell me if this is happening. I want Little Star VR in room scale so I can get up and walk into the kitchen and get something to eat and then come back and enjoy the show.
That is it. Yes. That's freaking Little Star, man. That's so jank. So here's the other thing that really hyped me up. So on the PlayStation Store, under the PSVR2 category, there are 10 games. Okay. Here are the games. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them have every feature that is utilized in the PSVR2, every technology. And the reason I think this is legit is because at first I was like, maybe this is just an automatic like icon and description they put on every PSVR2 game. But because only 6 of the 10 have it, means there was someone reviewing and taking things off when they didn't apply. That excites me because we both agreed PSVR 2 is going to be incredible if they utilize the technology. But if they don't, it's just going to be like a higher res PSVR, which is cool, but there's so much more that could be done. So Horizon, Star Wars, Saints and Sinners 2, Light Brigade, Tentacular, and Demio. They say VR2 is required. The Sense controllers are required. You can do sitting, standing, or room scale play styles. Headset vibration. They say optional, but I'm assuming that means it must be in the game, and then you can choose whether you want it or not. Sense controller vibration optional, and Sense controller trigger effect optional. So those are all of the factors that they have for a game. 6 of those utilize every single one of them. Like I said, like Hello Neighbor didn't have the headset vibration. It didn't have the controller vibration, things of that nature.
It didn't even have a controller. Actually, it doesn't even have a headset.
So that excites me that they are utilizing every tech that is available in this controller, in that headset. And again, I think that's a game changer, and that's how the PSVR 2 is going to make it and separate itself from the other VR headsets.
Yeah, I mean, it's just getting me unreasonably hyped. I'm looking at these games. So let's say Horizon, I get it. It's probably not going to need it too much, right? That's a lot of like walking around the jungle and stuff. You're going to use analog sticks. Star Wars,
but they're going to, above all else, that game is the one that has to showcase everything, right? Like
but I think the room scale is going to be kind of muted in this case.
Oh, you mean room scale? Okay.
Yeah. I think the games that are going to really use the room scale are going to be the games like maybe Tentacular, because you're probably going to move around. It's like that game is like everything's happening in front of you. You move around left and right and grab things off of the table in front of you. Demio is this like D&D type game, like a tabletop RPG, right? You can walk around the table. That's pretty cool.
That's
doing room scale
cool.
For something like that. That sells me on it a bit. I think those are the 2 big winners of the room scale. Now,
I mean, Saints and Sinners, to be able to actually walk, and like I'm assuming I can kind of put a little hustle in there. It's not like I gotta trust the analog sticks and its movement. Like I could do a quick jab and like a very dynamic, like fake out turn while whacking my axe. I feel like that's pretty freaking cool.
That's a very good point. Yeah, games with melee combat. So I wish there was a good boxing game coming out for this, because that'd be nice to like enjoy that room scale where the movement of your feet actually tracks on to how the game is working. They're expecting you to walk around. So it would be great to like have a zombie kind of feint at him. He lunges at you, you dodge back and hit him with the knife in the head, like that kind of stuff.
That got me unruly hyped. And you know there's going to be a boxing game that comes out.
Just does it suck? That's the question. Is it going to suck?
But I mean, like, imagine if you had what was the one? It was kind of a play on Punch Out where the characters
Super Knockout League. Yeah.
Yes. Like, I didn't like that. But had I been able to have more dynamic movements and I could move around, I feel like that would have been a much, much better game. Like, way more fun.
Like Creed. Creed tried to do that a bit. The locomotion kind of ruined that game a bit. You couldn't do the footwork. It would be really awesome to have a boxing game where you can just designate this is the ring, right? This is
Yeah.
the boxing ring. You can move around in it, and then you can apply footwork. Like that kind of stuff is awesome. So any of these arena fighting games, like Swordsman VR, if that comes out and it can really use footwork instead of me having to use analog sticks, that would be game changing. So I hope the room scale is working the way we think. I have a feeling they could pull it off. There's nothing missing. I just got to give myself the play space to handle it. I'm getting pumped at him. Hype
Dude,
trains
like
leaving the
imagine
station.
if I'm thinking like literally all Creed needs is a PSVR2 update. And that would be the definitive boxing game for VR.
And Creed 3 just got announced, the movie. So hey, what are they waiting for? Give it to us.
Oh, that's right. Give it to Alex.
Give
He
it to
wants
me.
it bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I mean it's a complete game changer. And I love again how what 60% of the games here they're utilizing everything. And a lot of the games we already know that are coming out, don't know if they're launch titles yet, are also going to use all those. So that's incredible. And those are things if you have a life, you probably don't go read the PlayStation Store descriptions. But we don't have one. Our loss is your gain. You don't have
Our
to
life, our life is to give you life with the news that we find on PSVR 2.
That's good. And well, I don't know about speaking of that, but one thing we do, I love Corporate Zombie. The thing is, he always supports us. I don't know if he listens to the podcast or watches it on YouTube, but he always goes to YouTube, comments. So last week we talked about, hey, can I buy Resident Evil 8 on PS4 and then continue to upgrade? And you had the potential thought of, well, if I download the PS4 version, does that have to sit there on my hard drive, take up space, and remain there for me to use the rest of the PS5 or PSVR2 versions? He said that that is not the case because he has streamed it and he had the PS4 version. He upgraded to PS5 and he was able to, I guess, take away and delete that PS4 version and he's good to go. So that is an option. If you want to save $2 additional, you can buy the PS4 version of Resident Evil 8 instead of PS5 physically. But whatever. I just bought the PS5. Can't wait. And then also, I'm happy for Zombie too. He's a big VR fanatic like us. He didn't get a pre-order right off the bat. Like he registered, he didn't get the invite. We're not premium selects like you are, Alex. But turns out that Zombie did in fact get a pre-order. Very excited for him. There was one reference that I didn't understand. I was wondering if you could highlight for me. He said, I feel like Jameen from Ghostbusters. I don't know who that is.
Jameen or Janine from Ghostbusters?
Yeah. Do you know who it's? So he
Janine?
got the email to pre-order and he was like, I got one. I feel like Jameen or whatever from Ghostbusters. I don't know who that is. Zombie, I don't know the reference, man.
Zombie, we don't get the reference, buddy. I'm looking on Wikipedia, seeing what happens to Janine.
Is she hood?
Yeah, she's cute.
Okay, maybe that's all he's saying is I'm cute.
He feels.
I don't want to.
He feels cute. All right. All right.
Is that what you're trying to say? He doesn't want to like brag, But if you do a backdoor brag, that's okay. So maybe that's it. Did you gather any more information?
No. All I know is that he's got a crush on Janine has a crush on Egon, one of the Ghostbusters. So like that's cool.
Oh, maybe that's what he's saying. He's got a crush on Egon. Like,
I mean, Janine has been in like every Ghostbusters movie. She's their secretary. I'm assuming that something happens in one of the Ghostbusters movies or games or something like that. Like maybe she gets to become a Ghostbuster, right? Like she didn't think she'd ever get to be one, and she suddenly gets to be one. I'm guessing that's what that is. You know what? I feel like Janine from Ghostbusters too. Let's just go with it. I feel like
you
Janine,
feel cute.
I feel cute today.
Well, let's make you not feel like Janine. Do you want to eat your bee now or here in a little bit?
Yeah, we'll eat the bean now. Listen, so I talked so much trash about Light Brigade. This is a self-inflicted bean. I gave that game such a hard time, and suddenly I've gotten really hyped just based on reading the description. Here, guys, hire me to fix up your trailer. You could have sold this game much better, but I'm ready to play, and I'm gonna eat a bean because I was giving you bad news and bad grief. Adam, spin the wheel.
Thank you, Funktronic. This is my pleasure. I love
We're
this.
gonna send this clip to them. Hopefully, they'll send us a code because I'm earning it right now.
Stink bug or toasted marshmallow?
Is that
That
the
one.
brown and white one? Brown and white.
Yeah. It looks like what a toasted marshmallow should look like. Primarily white with kind of brown poop smears
It's
around
gonna
it.
be awful. Is what it's gonna be. I'm sure the coffee's not gonna help wash it down.
Dude, the stink bug. If it's stink bug, that is rank.
That stink bug. And why is it
Oh,
so
yeah.
sweet initially? Oh,
Oh, dude, you went for it too.
yeah,
Ooh,
I have
hideous.
to. We gotta move, man.
Okay, so while he just suffers, I can see the pain in your face, and it is wonderful.
Mm.
So as he suffers with that, when I started Res Infinite, I went through somewhat of like a self-imposed pain, I guess. And I'm not sure what the best way to describe this is, but for the first time when I played Res and I realized this is probably the last time I'm going to play Res Infinite, Alex is going to barf. And especially after I ordered the PSVR2, it hit me that this is like PSVR swan song. Like it's really going away. Like this is going to be old technology like I think about the GameCube or the PS2, of which I don't care anymore. That, Alex, saddens me for some reason. Like I'm excited for the PSVR 2, but I look at what the PSVR has brought us, like this podcast, the people we've met, the experiences, like the first time, I forgot what they call it, when like you essentially, I got goosebumps when I was in Res Infinite and that one dragon swoops by you and you like experience something like that. I never felt that. And it's gonna go away. Like the PSVR is now old. Have you felt that way? Because you've been gaming longer than I have. Has there ever been a console that you've kind of felt like that? You knew is going into the twilight and you felt sad about?
No, and because I think PSVR is special. Here's the thing, like PS5 comes out, right? I'm gonna play my PS4 games on my PS5, or even PS4 comes out. I can't play my PS3 games on it, but having the PS3 sitting somewhere where I can plug it in and play it again, that's not a big ask. Now, the PSVR itself, PSVR 1, it's a lot to set up. You got a lot sitting around. You got that camera sitting on your TV. You have the breakout box. You got the headset and the controller sitting somewhere. It's a lot to have sitting out if you're not going to be regularly using it. And so what's happening is when PSVR 2 comes out, like that's what we're going to be primarily playing. So in a sense, we do have to say goodbye to PSVR 1 because we don't have the real estate on our table, our gaming setup. We don't have the real estate for HDMI plugs. We don't want that camera sitting on our TV for no reason for the next 3 years. So it's like you have to get it in while you can because you don't know if you're ever going to want to come back to it. Now, I know I made a big deal that when early on that like, yeah, I'm going to keep it around so I can play the old games, and I will. But it's going to be like a special, like I want to go back and play my PSVR 1, and it's got to be like a special event. It's not something I'm going to sit down and be like, today I'm going to play PSVR 1. It's going to be like, oh, next Saturday I'm going to have a PSVR 1 day. So that's what makes it feel like a swan song to me. And you're right. There's a lot of awesome things. Very rare in the gaming ecosystem do I get the feeling of like, man, I'm so lucky to be alive to see games get to this point, right? I think the last time I truly felt that was like when the Nintendo Wii came out, and I was like, oh, they're actually doing it. This is something really new. I feel so lucky that I can get to experience this, this change in the gaming landscape. Right now, regardless of where that ultimately went, and motion controls are kind of like whatever. PSVR was the next time I felt that. It's like, I'm so lucky to be able to get to play real virtual reality that doesn't feel compromised. And so PSVR, it brought that. It brought virtual reality to the masses, I think, in a way that PC VR couldn't. And it taught me and taught a lot of people that like VR is the real deal. It's the big daddy. It's the real deal. So it does feel kind of bittersweet to move on from the console. I'm going to have it around so I can play it, in the future if I need to. Thank God they gave us that adapter port for PSVR 1 to work on PlayStation 5. I'm gonna set up my PSVR1 at like my parents' house, and we got family get-togethers. Maybe we can bust it out and have a good time. And I'm not gonna feel worried if it like breaks or something because like it's old tech now. I can probably get it replaced for cheap. But PSVR1 did a lot. It did a lot for the VR ecosystem. I think it did a lot for me in terms of like this is something I'm excited about. I want to have a podcast about. I want to write reviews about. It gave me a reason to talk to you, which God knows I needed one. Um, so
Right.
it was an excellent piece of hardware. It did a whole lot, and even towards the end, it became like the little engine that could, right? Like nobody expected it to be as good for as long as it has been, and it's pulled this off. So it's super awesome. Yeah, so I do feel like I got to have at some point a send off, like in January. Like I need to just like really make like get my last pass at the buffet. Right, you're at that buffet,
You
and it's like
actually need to finish Astrobot.
yeah, you're right, and I will. Okay, I will. I need to. You're right. I'm not gonna bust it out again to play Astrobot. This is like my last couple of months to make this happen. There was an interesting thread on Reddit, Adam. I'm just gonna bring up where people were kind of talking about the games that like, hey, what was the game that got you into PSVR that sold you on the idea of VR? I know I mentioned I think earlier like Until Dawn Rush of Blood was the first game I played that
Hmm.
was like, hey, this isn't a gimmick. This is the real deal. This I feel like I'm on this roller coaster. I'm terrified. I feel like I'm holding two guns. I'm shooting zombies. Everything worked the way I wanted it to. Um, that was amazing. Another big one was Thumper. No, I
Yeah.
like it doesn't look great. It doesn't look great on flat. I mean, it plays fine and it's kind of fun, but in VR, like you feel the oppression of the environment. It was such a spectacular feeling, and it's like, man, we've come a long way. If Thumper came out today, nobody'd be too pumped for it. But like, there's so much awesome stuff that's happened. There's a lot of stuff that's worth revisiting at least this one last time before we say goodbye to PSVR1.
Yeah, Thumper's another game that I think, yeah, I need to boot up and play again. You're right. So that was the first game we played at Best Buy, or at least I did. And you're right. And that's, I think, what is special about VR is that a game that looks so unassuming, like, doesn't look great. You look at it on a flat TV and you're like, okay, there's not much to it. But in VR, it makes it special. That's, I think, what's awesome. It's also exciting because you may play a game like Star Bear Taxi that you look at like, oh, that's stupid. But because it's in VR, it does something. Like it changes the game dramatically. Yeah, I definitely feel the same sentiments. I mean, it was cool. And the reason I like VR, we did play PS5 for a while. And I'm glad we did that. It was awesome. We got more views and more listens and crap. People listened to it, they liked it. But it wasn't the same. Like I couldn't get hyped for just a PS5 game. Like on average, I feel like the flat version games aren't as good. And when I look back, like I'm actually thankful almost for special delivery that it was had such good potential and could be fun, but it sucks so hard. But would I rather play a game that sucked that hard in VR or a game that sucked in a flat game? I would rather play the VR sucky game all day long. Like, think about all the bad game. 18 floors, atrocious. But look at it, like it made so many memories of it only having 6 floors. It was named 18 floors. They didn't even have 18 floors. They came out of the DLC with 2 more floors. You make one. It took me hours to figure out how to do it, and then I made a video about it. That's what got the most views because no one can even finish it because it's impossible. It's a garbage game, but it created memories, man, and it ones that I'll never forget. What was it? I learned what a pansexual was for the first time in Werewolves Within. It was wonderful. I didn't know these people. We weren't even playing the game. We were just sitting there dicking around. And it was wonderful. Like it really is. I'm pumped. I know PSVR2 is going to bring a lot of those memories as well. But in the past, it made me realize that the next 3 months, 2 months, I'm going to do the PSVR right. And I'm going to revisit some of the games and I'm going to appreciate it. Hope that it feels loved before we move on. And the next thing I want to talk about, speaking of moving on, Alex, I'm a big fan, which is why I like trading cards. I like having things that are just kind of like collector's items to display and to say I have. And ideally, they don't take a lot of room, which is why I like cards. But there are some random stuff in the world, dude, that holds a lot of value. Not just like sentimental value, but like actual monetary value. Like, for example, if you have a sealed version of, Link, or Zelda, Link to the Past, tons of effing money. So I'm curious, would it be worth it to you to buy a sealed copy of the PSVR and hold it? Do you think it would have any value? Do you think they were just so mass produced, except for you just wanting to have it, that there's any reason to? Because some things are jank and they're worth a lot of money. If you had a sealed version of the Virtual Boy, you'd be a rich man. So I don't know. Like, what do you? I know you got Quar, and you like you mentioned Elden Ring. You have the special sealed, special edition of it. How do you decide what to keep? Is it mainly you just buy it for personal use, and if it's valuable, whatever? You've had a good track record of keeping the right things that are very expensive, like Cubivore, like Ninja 5.0. So what's your secret sauce?
Um, I hold on to things that I would want to play in the future. Like I attach some sentimentality to it, which is like the worst thing, right? That's what hoarders do. They attach sentimentality to everything. But depending on the price for a sealed PSVR, I don't want to pay $200 for a sealed PSVR. But at some point, like maybe they will never port Astrobots, like Astro's Rescue Mission, to PSVR2. That's a distinct possibility, right? That they're never going to port some of these PSVR1 games to PSVR2.
Yeah.
And there might be a point where somebody's like, this game is for some reason super popular 5 years from now, 6 years from now. People are going to want to play it, and you're going to reach out and want to be able to play it, and you can't. A good example is the Super Scope, right? The Super Scope, if you have a Super Scope and you have the attachment that makes the Super Scope work, there are people that will pay big money to have that experience again. So, I have a feeling Res Infinite's not going to be ported to PSVR 2 because it's kind of old hat, right? Nobody's going to buy it again.
Yeah.
But I want to play I want to be able to play Res Infinite 20 years from now, 30 years from now. I have a couple of games like that in PSVR 1. I want to be able to play again umpteen years from now. So I'm going to hold on to it for that. If you had a sealed PSVR, it's like saying, somebody buying it from me knows that the cushions aren't broken, the cables aren't chewed up, all of the necessary equipment is there. The controllers are going to be there and they're going to work. So that kind of stuff is important. You got to think. Like now, I tried to find Guitar Hero stuff recently, and that was impossible to find just because like I know the strum bar is broken. I know the kick pedal for the drum is not going to work if I buy it from this random dude on eBay. That kind of crap is a question for this kind of peripheral equipment. So yeah, it'll be worth something in the future. Is it going to be worth thousands of dollars? Probably not. Is it going to be worth at least what you paid for? Almost certainly. Is it going to be worth probably at least a little bit more than what you paid for? Probably, yeah. If it's worth like 10% more after a couple of years, then I think you probably made a good deal. But then there's also that idea of like, if Res Infinite never comes to PSVR 2, am I going to be able to play it again? This way I can assure that. I can make sure that's going to happen. And that's important to me. There are these classic games I always want to be able to go back to. So that's why I got to hold on to a PSVR 1 in some capacity. But getting a sealed copy ensures that, as you move from house to house or something, you'll be able to play these games again in the future.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And as you were talking about that, the first game I thought of was Res. I was like, yeah, in 3 years when they're not going to port that over, am I going to want to play Res? Heck yeah. I think it's a freaking wonderful game to put someone in immediately. And at least if they're like me, it blows your tits off. And I'm going to want to play it. And at some point, I'm probably not going to have my PSVR. And then I'm going to end up buying a PSVR. And then I'm going to end up having to play it. So, and pay to play it. So you're right. No, I don't know if I would. I don't know. I really like the idea of having sealed things just because it's cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I would buy a sealed PSVR and then ever open it. I would probably keep it. Just something I thought of. I think it's interesting. I don't want to spend much time on it. I know some peripherals are really expensive. Like if you had a Roland rocker, probably sealed, you'd probably have tons of money. If you had, but then some are like useless, right? Like some peripherals no one wants. It's been a long time and they just don't want them. You could get power pads sealed for not that much money, and it's not worth holding it for the 40 years it's out or whatever, right? But
We
I don't know.
should we should do this, Adam. In a future episode, we should have a perfect PSVR1 time capsule. What you're going to save. It's going to include things like a physical copy of Farpoint, an aim controller, two move controllers, copy of Resident, like that. We should come up with that. We'll discuss it later. But Adam, we need to close out tonight. We're running out of time. It's been late for a pretty busy day for us. Get any last words? Otherwise, I'll take us out.
You know, I love you, man. No, I'm joking. I do think, I'm excited to focus on PSVR in the future while still obviously covering PSVR2. I love the time capsule idea. We would love to hear from the fans. Maybe we'll put that is a good playpsvr.com article to start.
Yeah.
What is the time? That is good.
Leave it in the comments, guys. Put on a YouTube comment. Email us your PSVR1 time capsule. What do you need? What are you going to come back for in a decade for PSVR1 to re-experience that? I like that idea. Yeah.
No doubt.
All right. Well, that is all for tonight. You got two dudes with two PSVR2 pre-orders, 2 inches combined. 2 emergency broadcasts placed right in your 2 ear holes. It's a big deal, and we can't miss an opportunity to talk about a big deal. Adam, I am glad you got your PSVR 2. I'm glad I got a PSVR 2. This means we'll be able to keep putting out this podcast for all of our loyal listeners because they want to hear us talk about this stuff. But now, all that's left is to wait until 2022. So play PSVR 2, the podcast can make virtual reality your reality.